What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. PGA DFS video. This is for the BMW Championship. We are going to hopefully do something a little bit different. Hopefully kind of get you in a thought process of building DFS lineups for PGA, realizing it's over a 4-day period, or you can do each round, which if you need that instant gratification type, you can do each round. You can do showdowns and stuff like that. So depending on what you're playing, depending if you've ever played DFS PGA before, it might be a little bit different. So you might be in for a treat or you might not like it. So a lot of things are going to go on. We're going to go through the course overview. We're going to look at the conditions, weather. We're going to look at betting odds. We're going to look at everything. So if you find this video helpful, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We have a ton of information on all the sports that we offer. Again, I know this is PGA, but if anyone wants to get into the NFL weekly league on DraftKings, it is down below. It's $10 a week to play, and then it is, if we get all 200 people in it each week, it'll be $580 as a top prize. So that being said, let's look at the course overview right now. So Olympia Fields Country Club, it's a north course. It's in Illinois. It's a par 70, 7,366 yards is the normal thing. As of right now, the weather looks to be good. Things could change, obviously, but we're going to go over a ton of things. So if you guys have questions, let us know. So you can kind of just see the first hole starts off with a bang. 626 yard first hole. It's a massive hole. And the good thing is most of these holes are straight. So you go on and look for those hitters that ball strike and bomb the ball. So on our bacon station for FTA Plus, we have the players, their salaries, their tee times, the players, the salaries. We have the odds to win, and then we have our own projections, both FanDuel and DraftKings projections. So those are there, and ownership percentages. So those do help out a lot. Then we have course history. So the last time anyone played on this course, where it is, who it was, and what year it was, we went through the last 5 years. And then on top of that, we have the recent results. So every golfer that is in this slate, we have their recent 5 or so past rounds. So obviously last week was St. Jude, so we have how they placed in there. So you can kind of see how the golfers are doing lately compared to how they've done on this course as well. So on top of that, we have the cut percentages, driving distance, driving accuracy. So it's an average distance. So obviously if they need to bomb the ball, like just for instance, the first hole on this one, par 5, 626 yards. Damn near straight down the list, or straight as an arrow. So just for instance, on our bacon station, Rory McIlroy, his recent driving distance is 321.7 yards. His longest, or his driving distance over the long term, over amount of years, is 318.2 yards. So you can see he could potentially get on here in 2. So that is what you kind of got to look at. Obviously, you want players that are green in regulation. They get birdies or better gained. They have the driving accuracy. So you kind of want to go away from golfers that don't have the best accuracy, because these are lined with trees, bunkers, water, and it is straight as an arrow for the most part. So that being said, we will look at this. We'll go through that, and then we'll talk about some of the golfers. Hole number 2, par 4, 467. Hole number 3, par 4, 461. Hole number 4, par 4, 400. Hole number 5 is a par 4, 417. Number 6, we finally have a par 3 at 187 yards. I'd still miss the green on that one. Number 7, par 4, 452. Number 8, another par 3, 251. Number 9, par 4, 472. Hole number 10 is par 4, 444. Hole number 11, par 4, 396. 12 is par 4, 389. 13 is a par 3, 168. 14, par 4, 450. Hole number 15, par 5, 606. Hole number 16 is a par 3, 215. Hole number 17 is a par 4, 455. And we round it off at a par 4, 510 yards for hole number 18. So looking at that, we can look at past results real quick just to kind of see. Patrick Cantley, minus 14 last year to do it. I believe he also won it the year before, but it was a ridiculous number. Minus 27. And you can see him and Bryson minus 27. I mean, obviously this is the course, I believe, is different. They played this somewhere else, so you can see they're completely ridiculous. Don't expect these kind of results here, but you can see just the way moving to this course, lots of things change. So looking into this, you've got odds. You can check it out. McIlroy has the best odds. He's tied with Scheffler for plus 700 right now. And then you kind of move on. These are the top 5. We have all of the odds on the Bacon Station, so definitely go check that out there. If you want to look at just the way it's been going, you can kind of jump into here on DraftKings anyway. You can see that we have, they're very expensive. These two are the most expensive most expensive golfers on the slate. And then when we see that, that's why they have the best odds. So just kind of looking at this, McIlroy last played this course in 2020. He ended up 12th overall. And this, I believe, in this one, it was not the actual, it wasn't the BMW championship. Scheffler got 20th in 2020. So no one's played this course since 2020. And these are all going to be on the Bacon Station. But Jon Rahm ended up getting first on this course last time he played in 2020. You look down here, he's the 3rd highest there. So he's averaging more fantasy points per game than McIlroy. You can see the top 10s. That also helps if you're betting. And, you know, yes, doing outright bets, you know, they have better odds. And by better, I mean better payouts. The odds are obviously longer because there's a whole field of people. They can get cut, and we know that. Betting like top 10s and top 20s, you can parlay, like, if you have 5 or more golfers that you really like and you want to, you know, put them in the top 10, top 15, top 20, you have a good chance to make some money there. You just got to get the right ones in there. So depending on what you want to bet on, you can check that out. We can see like McIlroy coming off of in the St. Jude's, had 117.5 there. Obviously really good. He, you know, tied for 3rd overall, minus 14 there. The Open Championship tied 6. So you can see his last 3 have been top 5 or top 10 wins there. And I mean, his last 5, 6, 7, 8. His last 8 times he's golfed on DraftKings, he's in the top 10 every single one of them. So that would be obviously there's a reason why he is priced up as he is. So we can look at him. Scheffler, just kind of looking at Scheffler here. Depending on what you're looking at, game log wise, coming off a top, he was tied for 31st. I still had minus 6, 75 fantasy points there. I probably would stay away from Scheffler just for his price. I think I like Jon Rahm a little bit more. Then you got Jon Rahm averaging 91.2 here. Tied for 37th last week, so might be off people's radars depending on if they play DFS much. But he had minus 5 there, so he's still good. 75.5 was what he ended up getting that last week. So I think one thing that I didn't mention is when we look at some of this stuff, the stats and everything are going to be kind of skewed because there are 2 courses here. There are 2 courses that they play on. This year they're playing on the North course. So some of the numbers are going to be skewed. They played on the South course recently. So everything we've looked at weather, we've looked at the course, we've looked at past things. It looks like this is going to be pretty tough of a course to be playing on. I think we're going to see a lot of scores that are lower than what you might be expecting. I think the past couple of weeks we've seen with DFS golf that it's been a little bit easier to score. The courses have been a little bit easier. Now this is where we're going to get a little bit different. It's a little bit kind of, I think we're going to see not the minus 27. We're going to see like minus 6, minus 7, something like that. So looking at some plays, probably going to have, so we're going to have a ton of plays on the website. We already have our cheat sheet up. We're going to have some core plays and stuff like that. Looking at plays that I really like, if you want to go straight, like just tournament plays overall, Xander Schauffele, I really like. Colin Morikawa, I like. Adam Schenk, I like. Eric Cole, I like there. So digging into some numbers here, another couple of maybe DraftKings core players if you play on DraftKings, but they're leveraged because we have less ownership on them. Tony Finau, I don't mind. I think he's going to be a cheap option. Do I think he's going to win? No. Do I think you can get a little bit of a jump up on the field? Yes. I think Tony Finau and Dennis McCarthy are two good spots. So just kind of looking at Finau here. 73.4 fantasy points per game. He's made 6 top 10s, 18 of 22 cuts. Coming off of 64th place finish here, 55.5 fantasy points. Obviously, that's not a ton. He's 8,300. He's going to be a little bit cheaper there. Then we've got McCarthy here. We used Denny McCarthy last week, tied for 66, 51.5. Not huge, but that was a non-cut spot there. So we're here now. He went 4 rounds there. He got cut the previous 2 ones before that, whether or not you want to use that. But the course fit. So we've looked at the course. We've looked at the ball strikers. We've looked at the players. These are kind of what I'm looking at. These are guys. Now, here's a little list of players that I would look at. Like more of your own risk type players, tournament players, depending if you play cash or tournaments. Those would be the two that Finau and McCarthy would be ones where I'm not saying 100% use them, but projected ownership is so low, I think you could have some exposure to them. Then we kind of look at actual wins versus expected wins. So a lot of things with PGA is stats, how they approach tee to green, putting, off the tee, their ownership percentages, their wins compared to their expected wins. There's a lot that goes into this. Honestly, I thought for sure that Cantley would have crossed over last week, winning everything. But him and Xander still are top candidates to win this event. That's kind of my thought. Patrick Cantley, who's coming off of, I believe he has back-to-back wins here. Not this course, but back-to-back wins. And then Xander Schauffele would be one I'd look at. And then when we look at this, I do like Morikawa. Scheffler, I know he's made all the cuts, so you know what you're kind of expecting out of Scheffler. He's going to make the cut most likely. He's going for the playoffs. We're in the playoffs now. He would be one, but he is expensive. So Cantley's a little bit cheaper where you could go down from $11,600 to $10,500. Schauffele, I really like him here. He's a little bit cheaper as well, $10,100. He's $2,000 cheaper than Rory, so you could definitely be looking at that. So looking at this, Olympia Fields Country Club, the North course here, you've got a lot of information to find course fits. So looking at course fits, what do I mean by that? It means taking the course, looking at the pars, looking at the yardage, looking at how the holes and everything are built out this year, where the hole placement is, the plot information that we need. So what data points do we need to throw in to simulations to simulate all of these golfers and who's a fit? We've got who putts well, driving distance, driving accuracy, because these are very straight fairways. So you got to find the driving accuracy. You got to find the approach, and on top of that, around the green. How do they putt? Where are they at around the green? So looking at this, I think this is going to be a very tough course this year. This right now, driving accuracy ranks 3rd toughest on the course, because if you're not hitting it straight down there, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in the rough. You're going to be out of bounds. So the fairways, though, looking at the fairways, out of all of the fairways on the PGA Tour, this is the 3rd skinniest fairway average overall. It's the 5th toughest in greens and regulation, and 3rd toughest on short approach shots. So in other words, you got to look at players that do not bogey a ton, because you need to find the ones that are going to be on the green in regulation and then put the way to victory. So kind of looking at that. Looking at recent forms. And we've got all of this on the the Bacon Station. But McIlroy, Fleetwood, and Cameron Davis are all ones that have had really good recent forms that I would feel confident about making the cut, getting in the top 10, getting you those fantasy points, and getting you that money. Morikawa and Harmon are almost on the outside. So Colin Morikawa here, I really like. He's made 3 cuts recently, and he has 1 top 10 recently and 3 top 5s or top 15s in his last 5 tournaments. So those are numbers that are there. You're looking at Morikawa at 9,800, which really like that, and then Brian Harman's 8,100. So very cheap, cheaper options to help. So if you want to go like, go Brian Harman, Morikawa, Cantley because of his recency. We could look at that starting there. And then you've got about an average of 7,200. So you've got to find some of those value plays here. So just kind of looking at that. What value plays are we looking at? Are we looking at value plays would be basically 6,000 and 6 to 7,000, 6 to 7,500 here. Ones that I really like, Brendan Todd would be one. He's 6,600. So looking at Brendan Todd could be an option. 6 top 10s coming off top 43 or tied for 43rd last week. -4, 62.5. He does give you some 18 of 26 here and 6 top 10. So he gives you some of that value here. Then you could go up to 7,500. So if we look at 7,500 range ish, I mean JT Poston's we've been all over him the past few weeks. We've been all over JT Poston the past few weeks. Last week tied for 24th, -7, 76 fantasy points. We used him 2 tournaments ago, the Wyndham Championship. He tied for 7th overall, -12, got us 100 there. And he's 7,700, so let's draft him at 7,700, and that brings us to 7,300. Right around the 7,300 mark is what we'd look at. So, you don't always have to go with the full salary. That is a way to differentiate yourself away from the rest of the field. I'm not saying use this lineup here, but we definitely Thigala. I think he might be in a cheaper option there, so that leaves us 300 on the table. You can build around that. You can look at that if you want as well. So just kind of looking at this, that would be something I would look at. I'm not saying using him here, using this lineup here, but build around, build it through. So these are the full, this is if we're playing the full 4 rounds. So this doesn't include like showdowns or anything like that, or tiers. So now I want to talk about some tiers, and not the ones we're going to be shedding after you win $1 million. I'm talking about the tiers as in TIERS. So you got PGA tiers, which is another way to play. Now, not a lot of people actually play like MLB tiers or NFL tiers, which I found to be quite fun. You're going to split it more often than not is really the only thing. But let's take a look at tiers. So we can look at tiers. It's the four rounds, all 4 days. Hopefully you find those players that are, here. This is where you get a little bit, it's 3. So then they really break it down to Scheffler, Rahm, and McIlroy. Doesn't matter about the price, which is good. We're not constructed through the price. To be honest with you, though, I kind of think I'm looking at Scheffler here. Looking at this, there's a dip in him. I think people are going to be off of him, especially with the tiers here. With tier 1, Rahm and McIlroy, people are going to see that and go, absolutely. And then you see Scheffler here at 68.3. I kind of like him in tiers more than I would like, the full 6 golfers that we're looking at. Last week he was 31st, but showed real signs, and he's been putting a lot better than normal. It is a tough setup, but this is the kind of course that that Scheffler kind of has he is built for a course like this. That is why we kind of like it here. Then we've got McIlroy. Last week we saw him. He was doing okay, and then Sunday went to top 3. He is a little bit... I don't think I want to use McIlroy here. Rahm is another one. He's the defending champion, quote-unquote champion, after dueling with Dustin Johnson back in 2020. had a bad day off the tee last time here, and I think his ownership's going to be up there. So that is why we need to take a little bit of less exposure and go with someone like Scheffler. So we moved to Tier 2. Got Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, Schauffele, Fleetwood, and Spieth. So like this, and I just mentioned it before, it is a tie. I think it's going to be between Cantlay and Schauffele here, the two that I really like. Cantlay's been really, really solid for us when we've used him. And looking at this, so he needs points. So Cantlay really needs the points here to take down a dub, get to FedEx, get those standings. So he basically needs to do really, really well this week to get into the playoffs for the FedEx Cup. And this is something that people might not be thinking about. So you look at Patrick Cantlay, you look at 68.9, which is the lowest amount here. I think people are going to see that. You're going to see his top 10s or less or tied with everyone else, and they're going to go away from him. But Cantlay is there. The Xander Schauffele here, he's another one that I would look at. So if you don't want to go with Cantlay, you could look at right here. I think that's probably the way I'm going to go. Building through here, I'm probably liking this. We're going to make a whole team of just shh, but we can't because no one else is there. So those would be the top two and the tiers that I would look at. Then tier number 3 is where we're going to get a little bit, there's a reason they're tiered like this. And like I said at the beginning, Colin Morikawa, I really like him. He had a really good, strong finish last week. Got 13th overall last week. I like the gains stroked everywhere. You can find those in the Bacon Station that we've got. Last time he played here, got a top 25. That was in 2020. This is his, this course is made for Morikawa. So I'm looking at Morikawa here. If I were to go in here to rank these out, I would go Morikawa 1. I would probably go Max Homa 2, Im 3, Matsuyama 4, and Lucas Glover 5. So that's kind of where I'd look at here. So I am on Team Morikawa in tier number 3. Tier number 4, Hatton is the one I'm looking at. He's averaging more fantasy points per game than everyone. He's tied for the most top 10s here. 19 of 20 cuts. He's only missed 1 cut compared to everybody else. He's averaging 69.5, which is close to the top here as well. Kind of look at this. He's did struggle with the putter last week, so if he can get those putts back on top, I think Hatton will be. So I like Hatton number 1. I think Wyndham Clark would be number 2 for me. Corey Connors would be number 3. I would look at probably Tom Kim number 4, Ricky Fowler 5, Jason Day 6, and Sam Burns number 7. So that's where I'm going with there. Then we move on to tier 5. Tier 5 could really go either way. Russell Henley would be my number 1 here. Tony Finau is a close. Looking at this though, yeah, I mean, I'm probably off of Finau here. Just looking at some of the numbers that I've seen on the other screen, probably off of him. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Russell Henley and Cameron Davis, who does better in tier 5. So Henley or Davis, you could really be looking at. He's had 3. Davis has had 3 top 10 finishes in a row. He's gained strokes everywhere there. Might be one of the favorite pay down plays in the full 4-day slate here, not tiers. Kind of the same thing here. I think actually looking at these numbers, I think Cameron Davis would be number 1. I think Russell Henley would be number 2. So I'm going to go, I think a lot more people will be on Henley. I'm going to go with Cameron Davis, get a little bit of difference on the field here. So kind of looking at Cameron Davis here. And then we've got tier number 6. We've got Thigala, Hadwin, Putnam, McCarthy, Todd, Schenk, and Harris English here. So kind of looking at this, there's boxes. Like I said, when you're building out your data points to look at course fit, what you're looking at, I've looked at all of them, and Adam Schenk is hitting every single box for me. I think it would go Adam Schenk number 1. I think Putnam would be my number 2. Or Brendan Todd would be my number 2. It's really up in the air. Then Putnam. Then probably Hadwin, English, Thigala, and Denny McCarthy in this one. So this is what I'm going with. I'm actually going to go with this one, whether or not you guys do as well. You can copy, just don't play in the same one that I'm playing in. But this is where I'm going to go with my tiers, and I'm going to lock it in right there for tiers. So depending on what you guys would like, we do have a lot more over at fantasyteamadvisors.com. If you haven't already checked it out, go check out fantasyteamadvisors.com. We have FTA Plus, $24.99 a month, gets you MLB, PGA, MMA, NASCAR, and will be NFL once NFL comes back. Or you can use the promo code FTA Plus. Use the promo code NFL VIP for the yearly pass. Normally $199, you can get it for $99 using the promo code NFL VIP. Check that out. If you want to see more, we do have a lot more on PGA with our Bacon Station, our cheat sheet, and our optimal lineups as well. So that's what I've got in this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. If there are certain things you would like to see in next week's PGA DFS, let me know down below as well. Good luck to everyone this week. Let's bring them some more bacon. Peace.